Base case 030 tuning, part 1. Are you tuned up? Did you tune up? And why don't you tune up? I ask these questions quite often in my studio before lessons start, and I asked them of bass players and guitar players before combo and JE rehearsals, and the answers: I tuned earlier today. Or, I tuned before I left the house. No, I didn't tune, but I think I'm good. A teacher once told me that the answer she got was AC/DC, the rock band. AC/DC doesn't tune. How this child knew whether AC/DC tuned or didn't tune is beyond the scope of my understanding. And yes, for those interested, AC/DC tunes, at least on the records I've heard. Yes, you have to tune your bass all the time. It's a regular thing. There's no schedule for it. There's not, as long as you tune every other day, you'll be fine. No, you got to tune all the time. You got to check your tuning all the time. You've got to tune. Anytime you move the bass, you got to tune. Anytime you've been away from the bass, you got to tune. If you've been playing the bass a while, you got to tune. Check tuning. You hear something off, check the tuning. With the AC and heat in my house and it turning off and on constantly, I need to tune and check tuning constantly. When I pack my electric or double bass and the tuning pegs get turned, I need to tune when I unpack. So do you. Anytime I pick up the bass to play, I check my tuning. The temperature fluctuations in my studios, on campus, and at home play havoc with the strings. And yes, I need to tune before the lesson or everything. Yes, I tuned at sound check, but I need to check tuning right before I play the set. I've got to do that. My bass professor at North Texas said it best. He said, it's a pain, but take your time and tune before you play. Don't rush it because you're in front of people. Tune up. Last month, I saw a student cellist wave off their accompanist who asked if they wanted to tune and gave the cellist a note, and I thought, why? And I had something to say about it. And that, let me kind of just break it down. If you're performing in front of people in a duo situation or as a soloist, that tuning time is where you establish yourself. That's when audiences get quiet, you start tuning up. I have my double bassists play duos with each other, or I haven't played with an accompanist, and I tell them, tune up. Make sure you're in tune with the accompanist. Make sure you're in tune with yourself. Make sure your bass is in tune. Take that time to tune, and you'll feel better about it. At least one thing happened right in the performance, right? You got to tune before you record. Let me repeat that. It will not correct itself when you start recording. You need to tune before you record. You need to check tuning before every take. You must do that. That's a golden rule in there. You don't want to have a track that you played really nicely, but your A's 20 cents flat. Then you got to do the whole thing over again. When you tune in front of people, it allows you to stake out and establish your presence in front of the audience. It allows me to just get a feel of how this is going to sound where I'm sitting or standing at, how it's going to sound against that piano just one more time, know that there's people in the room. And like I said, the audience hears you tuning, and that's it. Then you talk. Don't talk and then start tuning. Tune and then talk. Not only against the piano, but just in general, that space. I want to hear with the piano, but I want to hear how it's sounding now that people have come in and warmed up the room for me. Clip-on tuners are inexpensive. When I started playing many years ago, there was no such thing as a clip-on digital tuner. We had basically, I think they were called a strobe tuner, or it was a dial, and you plugged into it and you tuned up, and it was $30 or $40, I think. Now clip-on tuners, which work real effective, they help you tune on stage with other people who are warming up. Saxophone players out there blasting away. I gotta have a clip-on tuner to check that I'm in tune, because if I'm tuning with my phone tuner, which are very good tuners, it's gonna pick up that tenor player, and any extraneous noises, I'm not gonna be able to tune correctly. And like I said, the tuners on your phone are effective for when you're at home. but they're going to pick up other sounds. When I'm in my home studio, the phone tuner will pick up the air conditioner. And that air conditioner, for trivia purposes, is in B flat at my house. I still see guitarists with tuners on their pedal boards. That'll work. It's on. They're constantly checking tuning. Those little strings detune constantly. The G string on your electric bass, the G string on your double bass detunes more than the other ones, I'm guessing. But tune. It's good for your ears. You start knowing after a while when your bass is out of tune without even having the tuner there. You know, I'll play G, D, A, E, and I know right off one of those is out of tune. The more that you do that, the more in tune your ears will be to when your instrument is out of tune, and that's what you want. You know, a lot of my players are very surprised when I start off some of my studio lessons with playing some scales, and I'll say, hey, A flat, your A string is flat. You're amazed that I can hear that. It's not like that I have some amazing ears. It's just that I have heard A in tune so many times that when it's out of tune, I know what it sounds like. There's a few different ways of tuning, and I'm going to do this on video with YouTube, and let me go through them. Tuning the open string one by one. It's not my favorite, but it gets the job done. You know, that's where you just hit the open string and tune that, and then you hit the open A and do that, and tune the D and the G. It's not my favorite, but you're tuning the strings. Tuning the 12th fret harmonic one by one. It's not my favorite, but you're getting closer because that's a note that a clip-on tuner is going to be able to read better. You know, a lot of you know this and have experienced it, that since our instrument resides in a very lower part of the EQ spectrum, that E string doesn't always pick up right. You'll see a B on there, right? Part of the harmonic overtones. Tuning in third position, right? The tuning block, we call it on double bass. That's my favorite. I'll tune the D string to the tuner, and then I tune the rest of my bass to that string. Then I know my bass is in tune. And I'll go into these into a future podcast. I've got a new email address, phil@basscase.co, right? Until next time.